Today I want to introduce you to one of my clients, Angela, who is 34 years old. Of course, her name has been changed to protect the innocent and the confidentiality, but I do have permission to talk a little bit about her situation because there are so many women, especially Black, Indigenous people of color, Black women specifically, who are navigating this thing around having a career and being pushed and pressured into marriage and or having children. I'm Tracey Knight, and I'm your codependency coach. And today what I want to talk about is why sis ain't rushing to the altar. So this particular client, 34, she's relatively still young in her career, to be honest with you. 34 is still fairly young. Once we get past our 20s and we start getting very clear about the direction we want to move in, how we want to move, the organizations we want to move within, then once we get that momentum, we really don't want to stop, especially when people are really starting to recognize the greatness that you bring into the space. And that's what Angela is facing. Angela is dynamic. She is a very successful attorney. She's well regarded in the industry, and she's climbing that ladder, which is something she has always wanted to do. But ladies, once you start getting to like 34, your mid 30s, other people start talking about, when are you going to have children? When are you going to get married? When are you going to settle down? And that undue pressure really begins to settle in and can cause you to make some decisions that are pretty interesting. Take it from somebody who actually knows. I know when I was about 38, my parents were putting the pressure on me to have children. And in my mind, I had been divorced and I was single at the time, but I was dating someone. And my parents' desire for a grandchild was being communicated to me pretty consistently, the same way that Angela's family is asking her, when are you going to get married and settle down? Well, much like Angela, I started listening to that. And what I was saying to Angela in our session is that it is okay for you to prioritize what is most important to you, even if it doesn't fit for other people. Codependency kicks in when we start allowing other people's belief systems, other people's worries and fears to drive our decision making. For Angela, she may want children, but she may not. She doesn't know yet. Yes, she wants to be in a partnership and she is dating someone who she really cares about, but he's supportive of her in where she is on this journey. Now, yes, he wants to take it to the next level. And sometimes she's been questioning herself as to whether or not it's just fear of commitment that is causing her to take pause. And so what we discovered in her session is, quite honestly, she's most worried about being too financially reliant on her partner, that she will lose her autonomy and her independence. Well, again, as a codependency coach, I always espouse a healthy sense of autonomy and healthy independence. But she has to also remember that we are interdependent as a species. And so that interdependence of being in partnership can enhance your life if you and your partner have very clear, transparent, and compassionate conversations about what you both want and how to get there. She does not have to lose her independence because she marries. As long as she and her partner can agree on what each other want, they can create a timeline for accomplishing that and make some space for variance, because life does show up and change for us periodically, right? So one of the things that we've talked about is having a crucial conversation with her significant other. There's also the concern of becoming too financially dependent on her partner, because I know for a lot of people, they don't want to, especially for women, have been taught that they must always be able to take care of themselves. That in and of itself, again, codependent. In partnerships, we we actually learn to share. We don't go into it thinking that we're going to get divorced, but we do set some standards around how we want to operate as a couple financially. Do we have joint accounts? Do we have separate accounts? Every couple is different. So doing what works for you is what's important. I think the most important part there is to have the conversation. Have the conversation and get the conversation started. Don't allow fear and other people's belief systems and ideology to shape the decisions that you make. I did. And I ended up in my second marriage. And as it turned out, I didn't want children. I didn't want biological children. I have bonus children and I enjoy them. And that's enough for me. What needs to be clear, excuse me, is what it is that you want, what feels right for you. And so if you yourself are worried, concerned, or have a question as to whether or not you may be allowing codependency to guide and drive some of the decisions that you're making, I want to invite you to do two things. Number one, to take my free codependency quiz. That's going to give you an opportunity in quick 3 to 5 minutes to figure out whether or not some of the decisions that you're making are based in codependency. Then from there, if you so choose, I want to invite you to come into my Conquer Codependency Bootcamp, where I personally am going to guide you through the process of creating a life that really works for you. So that's really it for this particular segment. Before we do anything else, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel and then share it out with your friends, because we don't want to let all this great content just sit here. There's so many women out there and men who need this information in order to have healthy, loving relationships. Moreover, this is the space where we learn how to take back, transform, and win at the game called life. I'm Tracey Knight, and I'm your codependency coach. I'll see you on the next segment.